We are here at our local Goodrich Quality Theater, Kalamazoo 10, and we are going to see the Barbenheimer double feature. Let's get it. There's like nobody here.
Well, we just got out of Barbie. I think I cried like 5 separate times. It was a fire movie though.
Fire movie.
So fire.
Like I would honestly say like 8.5 out of 10, 9 out of 10.
I'd say
like
yeah.
It's very fucking good.
Very
and it's
good.
so funny. Like that's the best part about that movie is like it is ridiculously funny, bro. Like that whole time
Gosling
we were
was
rolling.
awesome.
Ryan Gosling and Kate McKinnon fucking killed it.
Hilarious.
Like that shit was ridiculously funny. And I like how like they went for the feminist angle but didn't go so hard on it that it felt like pushing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like it felt like they were, because they even put the parts in where they were like, oh, Ken, she treated you like shit, you know what I mean?
Right.
And like she even apologized. Like it was just really sweet movie. And then the ending, oh my god, the ending mind fucked me. Like
I
low
wept,
key,
of course.
the ending was like the best part of the whole movie in my opinion. It's not just what you'd think. It's not like a Barbie movie where it's like
No.
just stupid shit going on. At the end it's like a real message.
Well, you know, great movie. We're at McDonald's now, so we're gonna get some food, and then we're gonna see Oppenheimer. We got like 25 minutes before it starts, so we're gonna real quick eat and get back to it.
Yes, sir. All right, we are on our way to Oppenheimer. Just got absolutely blasted.
Very
All right,
hyped.
so we're about to walk in this bitch and see what's up with these blasts. You feel me? We'll see it.
Damn.
That movie is ridiculously long.
It's so long.
And I'm gonna be real with you. Like I'm gonna be completely honest. It's kind of boring. Like there's a lot of. I mean, I liked it. Don't get me wrong. But like we were just talking about, I'll never watch it again. I don't think I'll ever feel the need to watch that movie again.
No.
I get it if you're super into like history, you'd probably rewatch it. Or if like you're super into like bombs, I don't fucking know. But like,
Yeah,
it's just such a niche movie. I feel like, you know what I mean? Like, you have to be a certain person to really love this movie. Like, I liked it. Like, I'd probably give it a solid 7, 6.5. You know what I mean? But like, Barbie was definitely more entertaining.
AF.
Yeah, and we were laughing our asses off. I mean, it didn't seem like we were fucking sitting there like, all right, when is this bitch gonna end?
First 2 hours went by really fast. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, 2 hours already.
The
And then
last
like the last
hour.
hour, I was like, this is another 2 hours. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
dude. And I think it's because there's really no villain. There's no like action. There's no like plot other than like this guy makes the bomb. And it's like cool to think about it from that perspective of like this is how all this shit happened. But
6.57 out of 10. I don't know. It was a good movie.
it was
I guess,
decent.
but I definitely would never watch it again.
But I mean, literally, bro, this is the best way to explain it. Literally, the movie ends and Oppenheimer is on the screen and there's already a line of people down the damn steps trying to get out of there because it's just like, all right, I'm ready to go the fuck home. Like,
Compared to other like Christopher Nolan movies, there wasn't like a lot of epic shit happening at all times.
No.
Like when you think, because we just rewatched Interstellar the other day, and there was just epic shit happening like pretty
Constantly.
often,
Yeah.
and there was just like the epic thing was the bomb.
And it was an
That
hour,
it.
or it was an hour 50 minutes in,
Yeah, that was
and it
it.
was like 10 minutes, and that was it. And then it was like talking about all the shit afterwards. So I mean, it was a solid movie. I don't want to take anything away from it, but it's a one-time watch, and it's something that like
Pay attention to it, enjoy it, and you
Yeah.
never need to watch it again.
exactly.
There's no need to ever watch it again.
We just got home from the Barbenheimer double feature. I had a pretty good time. Like going and seeing Barbie first, I think we kind of, fucked it on that one too. Well, unfortunately for us, the only times that it lined up were to see Barbie first and then Oppenheimer second.
It definitely would have been more fun to end out with something a
Yeah.
little more lighthearted.
Yeah, because it felt like after watching Barbie, we had already been sitting in a movie theater for 2 hours, and Oppenheimer's 3 hours long. So it's like we had like 25 minutes in between where we grabbed some McDonald's, and like we had run right back in the theater. We actually missed the first like 2 minutes of the movie somehow. I don't know. I feel like it must not have had many previews or just none at all, because we only were there like I think 8 minutes late is when we walked in from the actual start time on the ticket. But oh well, I'm sure we didn't miss very much of that movie because like I said, it is 3 hours long. But we will start with Barbie. We already gave you kind of a short synopsis of how we felt directly after the movie, and I wanted to get on here and give y'all a more in-depth review. We will start with the positives of Barbie. So,
I loved it. I thought it was freaking hilarious.
yeah.
Definitely. I kind of like had a feeling that it was going to be hilarious, of course, and awesome just from all the marketing, but I really didn't know what to expect going into it as far as just what it would cater to as far as that goes, but I think they really hit the nail on the head. I thought it was fucking hilarious and very well directed. I love Greta Gerwig. Ever since I first watched Frances Ha, which she actually stars in, I don't think she directs it. I've always loved her, so I think it was just...
Yeah.
I honestly, not like 9 out of 10. I don't even know what I could really critique, but really, I cried. Like, I cried so many times at that movie. I didn't shed one tear at Oppenheimer at all. No. Maybe I'm just heartless. I don't know.
I mean, Oppenheimer's not really one of those movies that's going to make you cry because the well, we'll talk about that in a second. But to get more in depth than what she just said, basically, Ryan Gosling fucking blew it out of the water. He was amazing, even though he was roided out, bro. Like, holy shit, man was on some roids for this movie. I liked the movie a lot. I thought Kate McKinnon was awesome as well. Obviously, Margot Robbie did well as Barbie. But I felt like there were some points in the movie where, like, I was just, like, confused by what was going on. Because that one part, you know, where they're running, where she's running away from the Mattel people in the building, it like was all super cartoonish, so it just was kind of like confusing on where the reality stops or where reality starts, I guess, versus like Barbie Land or whatever. But I mean, overall it was a really good movie. I feel like a lot of people are like upset or mad because the movie's like, oh, it's super feminist. It's like pushing this super feminist, like almost like shoving it down your throats. And I don't think so. And I mean, I'm the type of person that if I thought so, I would say that. Like, I feel like it did it. I mean, yes, there are parts where I'm like, yeah, all right, bro. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, okay. It's not like a propaganda piece. You know what I mean? It's not like all about that. The ending is my favorite part of the entire movie, personally, because it like shows Barbie becoming like a real person and a human. And it explains being human in a very elegant way, I think. Like, it kind of explains it like, you know, you feel all these things and it's all uncomfortable the whole time, but like, it's like worth it, you know what I mean? And they were talking about like death and all these things. So I just thought it was kind of a cool like path to take in a movie that could have just been super unserious, super comedy driven, and that was about it. Like,
dumb. You know, they could have just done whatever they wanted.
Yeah.
They made it
Yeah. And I mean, it was kind of dumb, but it was hilarious. Like, the shit that was dumb was funny.
Purposely, you know what I mean? Like, they're supposed to be just like dolls with no real brains.
Right.
They're supposed to not be human, you know what I mean? So they're supposed to just perfect life, whatever. This is how we do it. This is how we've always done it.
Yeah.
And then I think they really show that contrast well toward the end when, you know, the whole space-time rift, whatever happens, and their worlds kind of collide. And I don't know. I just think that it really shows the difference of the emotions of the characters at the end of the movie versus the beginning. And they really developed it well, and I just think it was great.
Yeah.
I like want to watch it again.
Yeah, I mean, I'd definitely be down to watch it again. I mean, I wouldn't watch it again today, but like, I'd be down to watch it again once it comes out on streaming. And for me, like, this was definitely worth seeing in theaters. Knowing what the movie is, I would not be mad about waiting until it was out of theaters, though. Like, it's not one of those movies like Oppenheimer that you have to see in theaters. Like, you could easily watch this at home and feel the same way we did. It was just a good movie overall. As for rating, I would probably give it like a 8 out of 10. Just because there's one part in the movie for me with like the whole like women stuff that just kind of threw me off. I see what they're doing. They're not going for our generation, they're going the generation before us, like our moms and shit, because that's who played with Barbies like that when they first came out, you know what I mean? And it just felt like a lot of the things that they were saying about like women in today's society were super outdated, you know what I mean? Like, it just seemed like if this movie came out 20 years ago, it would be perfectly, like, what she said at the end would be like perfect for what women go through.
The like America Fair one.
Yeah. I feel like there was not the whole thing, but there was just a few points in that where I'm like, yeah, I don't think that's how society works anymore. The whole like being thin and like all this shit, it's like a little outdated, I feel like, for now, today's society. But again, that's just like a small thing. That's why I don't really care about it that much. Like, it doesn't really matter to the story or to the movie or anything like that. But that's the only time that I genuinely felt that it was like pushing the like women, women, women. Do you see how hard it is to be a woman? Like, and then right after that, though, which really surprised me, they had Will Ferrell come over, and it's not like he did a whole monologue, but he was just like, do you guys know how hard it is to be in charge of everything? I don't want to be the guy in charge of everything. So it was like kind of cool that they didn't just like tell men to go fuck themselves pretty much, because that's kind of what I expected in this movie, especially with how they portrayed Ken at the beginning. Like, he was just so stupid and like just a fucking, he was like a little play toy for Barbie, basically, you know what I mean? But then but by the end of it, she was apologizing to him, you know? She had like realized what she was doing wasn't cool, because she then felt how it was to be in Ken's spot when she went to the real world. So it's just a good movie. It's a cool movie with a pretty solid, you know, foundation and a pretty solid message, I would say. And I don't think it went over the top really in any of those messages that it wanted to, you know, push in the movie. So like I said, I think I would give it a solid 8 out of 10. 9 out of 10? 9.3 out of 10 for Barbie.
The problem that I really have with it is that there's no Taylor Swift on the soundtrack.
That's true, but I did fuck with that Billie Eilish song at the end, though.
You know, and I really like that, too, because when the marketing for the movie was happening, people were like, this movie's supposed to be fun. Billie Eilish is all sad and emo. There's no place for a sad and emo song in a Barbie movie. But then the way they incorporated it right at the end when the whole, like, warring between becoming human or not, I think it was just perfect. Especially since when that scene happens, it's in like this like other dimension where it's just like the light pastel colors are kind of bouncing off the walls, and Billie Eilish is like, you know, her haunting vocals or whatever are playing in the background, and she's just like trying to figure out what it is to be human. Oh, it was just a perfect moment. So I really loved that too. It
was definitely not what I expected. That's the best way to put it, is like, you hear, oh, Barbie movie, you think it's just going to be like stupid shit and just your run-of-the-mill, you know,
the
comedy.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, just like,
not bad.
But there's no like underlying anything. Whereas in this movie,
it
was very deep. It was a very deep movie about like being human and what it means to like have mortality. Because that was a big thing that they brought up, is like, in Barbie world, you're not going to die, but if you become a human, you will die. Like, that's the guarantee about existing, about living, is dying.
Some, like, existential,
it was pretty good
like,
in that.
Nihilistic shit into like a Barbie movie is just amazing.
Moving on to Oppenheimer. This movie, like I said, I wish we would have watched them opposite, because I felt like by the time we walked into the theater, I already almost had like theater fatigue. Like, I was just like, all right, we just sat through a 2-hour movie. Although it was good, by the end of Barbie, I was ready to get out of the theater,
20
too.
minutes in between Barbie and Oppenheimer for us, where we were just kind of like trying to get some food real quick.
We had to rush, you know.
So it was just.
And then we missed the first like 2-3 minutes of Oppenheimer. So when we did get in there, we had to like catch up in our minds. Okay, where are we? Who's this character? Right. You know, who's Robert Downey Jr. playing? Who's this guy playing? And all this stuff. So we had to like catch up with the rest of the audience. But I will say, it was a very solid movie. I think it's not what you expect from Christopher Nolan. You know, it's not a lot of action. There's not a lot of like plot going on. In my opinion, the plot is not a movie really. It's more of like a biography, if that makes any sense. Because there are 3 acts, but instead of it being like there is a villain and a good guy, like in most movies, or like, you know, a evil thing that they're trying to fight, it was more of just like exploring
dramatic documentary.
Yeah, it was like exploring Oppenheimer's life from before the Manhattan Project, during and after.
Yeah,
pretty
because
much.
It wasn't even like from his childhood necessarily.
No.
It just was like as he was a young man, started getting into like learning about quantum physics and whatnot, and then basically went until he got his Nobel Prize. But I mean, it kind of jumped in between, obviously, the whole controversy and the Nobel Prize. But it was just, you know, like a good like 30-year chunk of his life probably. Yeah. And you know what? The only thing that I would say is honestly, I'm not like a history buff. I cannot keep names and dates and shit all straight. So I think the only thing that would have made the movie better for me is if I had already had a handle on who the characters were before I went in there. Because when they're like throwing like, okay, we got Borden and this guy and this guy and this guy, like all at once, you're just like, I literally don't even know who those guys are to begin with. Yeah. But now I have to keep them all straight and what their relevance is to the story. So if I had maybe read the like Wikipedia, like the whole situation first, and I could be like, okay, this guy is this guy, and then I could know. But you know, that kind of made it a little bit more confusing for me personally. But that's because I'm stupid. But that's a whole different problem. But but yeah, like you said, I think it was a solid movie, but it was nothing like we said earlier, how it's like Christopher Nolan has these epic movies.
Well, like we just got done watching Interstellar like 2-3 days ago, and that is like. That's a great movie. Like, that's a movie I can rewatch, you know. Yeah. Not like every day, but like every few months or every
few
6 months.
You'd rewatch Interstellar.
Not I wouldn't every few months, but I'm saying I wouldn't like I wouldn't hate to watch it.
Interstellar like once every 2 years or something.
Well, you know what I mean.
You gotta
though.
sit down and invest.
But you get my point though. It's rewatchable. That's what I'm saying at the end of the day. That it is rewatchable. Oppenheimer, not really. It is not really a rewatchable movie. You watched it once. I like that I learned more about like the story of the atom bomb and all these things.
Him being a whore. That's kind of
him being a whore. Like I had no idea. And but I feel like learning what I learned was pretty cool. But like you could probably learn the same things from like a 20-minute YouTube video. But it's like cool to watch the movie. Because it's Christopher Nolan, Cillian Murphy did a great job. Robert Downey Jr. did a great job. I feel like all the actors and actresses in this movie did very well, and it's
cast really well.
Yeah. This one guy, we watched a review beforehand, and this one guy said it perfectly. It's a movie for cinephiles. It's for those people who just love movies in like the most like. It's like for me, a football guy watching like a wing tee offense.
It's for people who call movies films.
Yeah, like it's for the people that appreciate all the little stuff that goes into these movies.
David Lynch.
Yeah, just like obscure. They're very indie movie. They go to like Sundance festivals and shit like that. Like
I love David Lynch.
Yeah.
No.
But you know what? You get the point. It's like it's a very like niche movie for people that are history buffs or movie buffs. And I'm not really either. I love movies, but
my dad
like,
would love that movie.
Yeah, and
You know what I mean? Like,
that's the thing too. If we would have went into it like you said with a little bit more knowledge on the fact and the characters, we probably would have been more invested. Just for me, I wasn't super invested at all. Like throughout the whole movie, I was just like, "When's the bomb coming? When's the bomb coming?"
I think
I
think that's the difference between Barbie and Oppenheimer. Barbie is a movie that I think really anyone could love.
Yeah.
You could even be like sour about it before you go in, like, oh, this is gonna be girly and stupid, but then you come out and be like, all right, damn, that was good. I feel like it's just wider audience, whereas Oppenheimer is for like specific types of people.
Well, like
You're
we
not
talked
just gonna
about,
walk in randomly and be like Oppenheimer and be like, no, I'm glad I randomly chose that.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, the big difference for me that I noticed with the two movies, right? When we walked into the theater, people were talking about Barbie out loud. Every single person we walked by were like, oh my gosh, Ken, blah, 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 or Barbie, or blah, blah, blah. You remember when Barbie said this, blah, blah, blah? Like, they were talking about it after they saw the movie. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you right now, when it said Oppenheimer on the black screen, motherfuckers were walking out already. Like, they were just like, all right, I'm over this shit. I'm ready to get the fuck on. You know what I mean? And that's the thing is, like...
just hovering in their seats, like, when is it gonna come up?
I remember seeing, before the fucking Oppenheimer even popped up, there was people, like, out my peripherals jumping out of their chairs to get out. Because it's just, like... It's not, like, very captivating, realistically. Like, it's a movie that I would like to watch at home. I think I would have preferred to watch it at home. Because, yes, watching it in the big theater's cool. But then you could take a break. You could pause it for 20 minutes, go to the bathroom, get some food real quick, and then sit back down and watch.
Because when it's that long, it's so hard to stay invested without an
And when you're in a movie theater, you're just sitting there the whole time. You're trying not to be loud or make noises, and you're trying to stretch and like not be uncomfortable. And after just sitting in a movie for 2 hours, it kind of like I said,
our fault,
I wish we would have done it opposite. It's not our fault. I mean, we literally couldn't have done it the same way or the other way at the movie theater.
As far as how long it felt like, because we were already sitting for so long.
Yeah.
It felt like we were sitting there for 4 hours.
Yeah. But, I mean, at the end of the day, I am glad that we took part in the Barbenheimer double feature. I had a good time. I hope y'all liked the video. As always, like, comment, and subscribe if you liked the video. I appreciate y'all for watching. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace. Oh, wait. We didn't give our Oppenheimer ratings. I would say... Oppenheimer is like a 7. It's not that it's a bad movie, it's just rewatchability and entertainment value. Like, I was much more entertained during Barbie, and when I left Barbie, I wanted to talk about it much more. Whereas Oppenheimer, it's like theater fatigue, like it's movie fatigue. Like you're over sitting there watching the movie, so you don't even want to talk about it afterwards. You're just like, all right, let's get out of here. What about you, babe?
Well, I was nodding off a little bit, but I was
very much so
high and whatnot, so it was hard. And you're just sitting there. So I mean, I don't want to give it an unfair score just because we were already tired and whatnot. But I would say like a 6.5, 7. You know, I want to give it its flowers, but
Yeah.
just if I look at it on a personal level,
I think
it's a
too.
little bit lower, just because I don't really like his.
I think my
Except like Inglourious Basterds.
I think my score is so low because I expected so much more because it was Christopher Nolan. Whereas the opposite was with Barbie. I expected a dumbass like half kids movie, and it was not that at all.
I expected for some reason to see more than just one big
bomb. Yeah,
detonation.
same. I was hoping it would be
They
like
had,
montages
a couple
or something.
little mini like pew pews, and then there was the big nuke, and then that was it. And it's like
Yeah.
for all of the hype that it got, like the fucking bomb movie, like you would have thought there would have been
It was one bomb.
more bomb.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But to be fair, they did it all practically, so maybe they could only do
That's
one
true.
bomb.
You
know
gotta
what I
say
mean?
no, there was no CGI, which is fucking
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
That they had no CGI in a movie, about
Especially
the
for how
atomic
well
bomb,
they aged them. They got at the end they were aged so well because it was supposed to be like 20 years in the future.
Yeah.
Like everyone looked like I feel like they are gonna look when they get old.
Well, too,
you
there's
know?
the difference between when he was in the questioning room versus when it was like doing the flashback. Like even though that was like a 10, 15-year difference, 20
Yeah.
maybe, you could just see the
You could
subtle
tell.
aging, and it
Yeah.
was just awesome.
Well, and I liked how they made it black and white in certain places so that you could
That
really
helped, I
understand like the time switch and
yeah, I
stuff.
think that really helped with how like non-linear it was, because it was obviously like boom,
Yeah.
boom, 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 all over the place. So that
Yeah.
definitely was nice. Great directing, of course.
For sure.
As always. From
Great
Christopher
directing,
Nolan.
great acting, great writing, and all that. Just for me, the plot itself wasn't entertaining enough for a 3-hour movie. But like I said, when it comes to the people that this movie's made for, they're gonna love it. They're gonna eat this movie up. So, with that being said, I think we're done here. Like I said before, like, comment, and subscribe. I appreciate y'all for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.